I want you to picture a scenario. You are the captain of this massive ocean-going freighter.
Yeah.
And you've got millions of dollars in cargo stacked on the deck. You have a whole crew depending on you and a super tight deadline to meet.
Right.
But there's a catch. You are navigating this huge ship from a room with 0 windows.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no windows. You have no radar, no GPS. The only way you actually know if, say, the engine is overheating or if you're drifting off course is if a crew member literally runs up 3 flights of stairs, knocks on your heavy metal door, and says, Captain, I kind of smell smoke.
That is a terrifying image.
Right.
And honestly, it's a little too close to reality for comfort.
It sounds totally ridiculous. I mean, no one would run a real ship like that in 2026. But according to the research we're covering today, that is effectively how a huge chunk of modern enterprise is still operating. They're just sailing completely blind.
Yeah, it's what they call the operational visibility gap.
Yeah.
It's one of those terms that sounds super dry until you realize it's the exact reason your 2-day delivery is late, or why a local factory just suddenly goes dark on a random Tuesday afternoon.
Exactly. So today we are doing a deep dive into a white paper titled Enabling AIoT-Driven Operational Visibility Across Enterprise Assets. It's a joint publication from Favorite and IoT World, and it just dropped this week, February 2026.
Fresh off the presses.
And the mission for our deep dive today is pretty specific. We are going to explore how we move from that guy running up the stairs model to something that actually predicts the fire before the match is even struck.
And we need to be clear about what that something actually is. We aren't just talking about, slapping more sensors on old machines. We are talking about AIoT.
Right. And before we get completely lost in the acronym soup, because I know AIoT sounds like a massive marketing buzzword collision, I want to start with the problem itself. The operational visibility gap. Let's be real for a second. Companies have data. They have mountains of spreadsheets. They have maintenance logs. So why is there a gap at all?
You hit on the key word right there. Spreadsheets.
Okay.
The problem isn't that the data doesn't exist. The problem is where it lives. In most legacy setups, you have what we call siloed environments.
Right.
So your maintenance team has a clipboard or maybe a local hard drive where they track repairs.
Right.
Then your energy management system is a totally separate physical box locked in the basement.
And the IT guys are somewhere else entirely.
Exactly. The IT team is monitoring servers on a cloud dashboard. And none of these systems talk to each other.
So you have all the puzzle pieces, but they're literally sitting in 3 different buildings.
Precisely. And because they are siloed like that, the monitoring ends up being manual. It's periodic. Think about a security guard doing his rounds. He checks the boiler room at 8 in the morning. Everything looks fine. But he doesn't come back to check it again until 4 in the afternoon.
And if a valve bursts at 8:05?
Then you have nearly 8 hours of completely unchecked failure. That is the manual trap. You are relying on static snapshots in a world that moves like a continuous movie. And the consequences, as they lay out in the source, are brutal. Unplanned equipment downtime is the really big one.
Which is really just a polite corporate way of saying we stopped making money.
Oh, it's worse than that. It's we stopped making money, and now we are spending triple to fix the broken machine in a sheer panic.
Yeah, emergency repairs aren't cheap.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But the gap also causes energy inefficiency. Running machines at full tilt when they don't need to be running. And then there are the compliance risks.
Oh, compliance.
If you are in pharma or food processing, and you can't explicitly prove that a giant freezer stayed under 0 degrees because your manual log has a 4-hour gap,
you are in serious trouble.
You're facing massive fines or a total recall.
That compliance angle is super interesting because it's not just about things breaking down. It's about proving to regulators that they didn't break down. But okay. The white paper argues that the solution here isn't just hoarding more data. It says we need actionable intelligence. And this brings us to the hero, or at least the main protagonist of the report, AIoT, the artificial intelligence of things.
Yes.
I have to ask, though, is there a real functional difference here? We've had IoT, the Internet of Things, for a decade now. We have smart toasters and connected fridges. Why do we need to slap AI on the front of it? Is this just a clever rebranding exercise?
It's a very fair skepticism. I hear it a lot. But there is a distinct architectural difference. Traditional IoT is really just about connectivity. It's the nervous system of a building or a factory.
Okay.
It connects the fingers and toes up to the sky. It sends a simple signal, like the temperature is 40 degrees. That's it. It's just raw, dumb data.
So IoT is just the messenger.
Right. AIoT is the brain. Takes that raw message, the temperature is 40 degrees, and it adds context and processing power to it. It asks, is 40 degrees normal for 2 in the afternoon? Is it rising faster than it did last week? Does this temperature spike correlate with that weird vibration we are seeing in the secondary motor?
Okay, I get it now. So IoT just says, hey, it's hot. And AIoT says it's hot because the coolant line is clogged, and if you don't shut it down in exactly 10 minutes, the entire motor is going to blow.
Exactly. The white paper describes this as a fundamental shift from static infrastructure to an intelligent, responsive environment. It's the difference between a dashboard that just shows you a bunch of annoying flashing red lights and a system that actually tells you what to do about them.
Which sounds amazing in theory, but let's talk about the actual implementation, because this is usually where I see these massive tech promises totally fall apart.
Sure.
The white paper introduces their specific solution, the favorite AIoT platform. They call it a single operational intelligence layer, which to me just sounds like a whole lot of complicated middleware.
It is middleware, but that's the absolute necessity here.
Right.
Think about a huge modern factory or a massive downtown office building. You don't just have brand new smart Wi-Fi-enabled devices everywhere.
No, you have stuff from the Stone Age in there.
Exactly. You have legacy chillers from 1995. You have proprietary manufacturing systems that refuse to share data. You have absolute mess of different communication protocols.
So how does a platform like Favorite actually handle that? Does it require the company to rip out all the old stuff and start over?
No, and that is the critical point. If this solution requires ripping and replacing millions of dollars of legacy equipment, no CFO is ever going to buy it.
Sure.
The source emphasizes that the platform unifies 3 distinct things. First, the IoT sensors and edge devices, that's your new stuff. Second, the existing enterprise IT systems, like the old databases and ERPs. And third, a secure cloud-based data infrastructure. It basically acts as a universal translator.
Okay, so it bridges the gap between the basement and the cloud. Let's walk through what actually happens once that bridge is built. The white paper lists 4 main capabilities that the platform provides, and I really want to dig into these because I feel like this is where the AI part really has to prove it's earning its keep.
Let's do it.
The first one they list is real-time monitoring.
Right. This is effectively the death of the clipboard. Instead of a guy doing a manual check every 8 hours, you have continuous visibility via centralized dashboards. You can literally see the heartbeat of the entire operation from one single screen.
But, and I'm going to push back a little here. If I'm an operations manager on the floor, I don't want to just stare at a computer screen all day. If I have 1,000 different physical assets, a centralized dashboard just sounds like a massive headache. It's total information overload.
You are absolutely right. Alert fatigue is a very real, very dangerous problem in the industry. If the system dings and flashes every single time a pressure valve changes by 1%, you're just going to mute it.
Right, I'd ignore it by day 2.
Which defeats the whole purpose. And that's exactly why the second capability is so important. Automated alerts. But we aren't talking about dumb alerts.
What's the difference between a dumb alert and a smart one?
A dumb alert is just a static threshold. Like, if the temperature goes over 100 degrees, send an email. A smart, rule-based alert, which this platform uses, allows for complex logic.
Give me an example.
It says, if the temperature is over 100 and a vibration is unusually high, and we are not currently in a scheduled Tuesday maintenance cycle, then send an urgent text alert to the floor manager.
Oh, wow.
It filters out all the normal operational noise, so when your phone actually buzzes, you know it's real.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It heavily reduces the whole boy who cried wolf effect.
Correct. And that leads us directly into the third and probably most hype-worthy capability, advanced analytics and predictive insights.
Yes, the crystal ball stuff.
It really is. But let's break down what predictive actually looks like in the real world. Let's take a life of a data point example. Imagine a simple vibration sensor magnetically attached to a massive industrial water pump.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
For months, that pump vibrates at a steady, normal frequency. The IoT part of the system is just sending that flatline graph up to the cloud. It's totally boring. But then, one random Thursday afternoon, the vibration changes slightly. A human looking at the graph on a screen might not even notice the tiny spike, because it's still technically within the safe zone on the dial.
But the AI sees it.
The AI sees the pattern. It has ingested thousands of hours of historical data, And it recognizes that this specific microtremor matches the exact signature of a ball bearing that is just starting to degrade.
That's wild.
It doesn't just send an alert saying high vibration. It says predicted failure in the primary ball bearing in roughly 48 hours.
That right there is the game changer, because now you aren't reacting to a fire, you are just calmly scheduling a maintenance window.
Exactly. You change the $50 part during a normal lunch break instead of shutting down the entire assembly line for 2 days when the pump violently explodes. That is the fundamental shift from reactive to proactive.
And the fourth capability mentioned is secure enterprise integration, which sounds like the boring IT compliance part, but I imagine in this highly connected world, it's terrifyingly important.
It's absolutely non-negotiable. We are talking about connecting critical physical infrastructure directly to the internet.
Right.
If you don't have robust, security-strong data governance, secure interoperability with your existing IT setups, you're basically opening a digital back door for hackers to turn off your factory or mess with your energy grid. The white paper really stresses that the favorite platform isn't just a cool gadget. It integrates natively with enterprise-grade security standards.
So we have the tech stack laid out. It sees everything, filters out noise, predicts the future, and locks the front door. Now comes the part where I get a little skeptical again, the hard numbers.
Let's hear it.
The white paper claims that organizations implementing this typically see a 15 to 30% reduction in reactive maintenance costs.
It is a bold number.
It is massive. If I'm a CFO listening to this, 30% is a dream. Where does that money actually come from? Is it just hiring fewer repair guys? Because that seems a little too simple.
It is too simple. It's actually a combination of factors, and you really have to look at the total cost of ownership. First, yes, it is the labor. Emergency, middle-of-the-night overtime costs an absolute fortune compared to a scheduled maintenance tech working a Tuesday morning shift.
Sure.
But the much bigger chunk of those savings is often found in inventory and asset lifespan.
How so? Inventory.
Yeah, if you were running blind, you probably keep a massive warehouse full of expensive spare parts just in case, because you have no idea what might break tomorrow. That is millions of dollars in capital just tied up, collecting dust on shelves.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
If you have predictive insight from AIoT, you only order the expensive part when the system tells you it's going to fail next month. It enables true, just-in-time maintenance.
Ah, so you drastically lean out the inventory overhead?
Right. And then there's the lifespan of the asset itself. If you catch a slight motor misalignment early, you fix it with a quick turn of a wrench. If you just let it run out of alignment until it finally breaks, you might have to replace the entire $1 million machine.
Wow.
You are extending the functional life of your most expensive assets by years. That is really where that 30% number comes from.
That makes a lot more sense. It's not just the line item for the repair bill. It's the operational efficiency of the entire physical ecosystem.
And we definitely can't ignore the energy efficiency angle that the report mentions either.
Right, the whole sustainability piece.
If you finally have granular minute-by-minute visibility, you see the waste. You see that a massive air compressor is inexplicably running at 100% capacity on a Sunday when the entire factory is closed.
Just burning cash.
Exactly. You spot the hidden leaks? The white paper ties this directly to the ROI by lowering the monthly utility bill, of course. But it also ties it to sustainability, which is increasingly becoming a strict board-level metric for large enterprises. They need that data for their environmental audits.
Okay, so the ROI case is strongly built on efficiency, asset lifespan, and energy reduction. But the white paper actually shifts gears a bit towards the end. It moves away from the boiler room and steps up into the boardroom. It starts talking about strategic value and digital maturity.
Yeah, this is the big, so for the CEO.
Right, because it claims that AIoT drives organizational agility. Which, I'm sorry, sounds a bit like corporate bingo to me. What does agility actually mean in the context of physical machinery?
Think about a massive supply chain disruption or a sudden global spike in energy prices. If you are a CEO and you ask your team, hey, how much production capacity do we have right now? Can we safely ramp up output by 20% to meet this crazy new market demand? If the answer is, well, I don't know, let me call the plant manager and he'll check the clipboard logs and get back to us in 2 days.
You're dead in the water. The moment has passed.
Exactly. You cannot pivot. Agility means having the real-time operational data to make a strategic decision right now. You can say, yes, we can ramp up because I see on the dashboard that all our core assets are perfectly healthy and we have a 20% overhead capacity.
Or conversely, you can say, no, we can't push it.
Right. You say no because the predictive analytics shows us that 3 of our main extruders are due for critical service, and pushing them will cause a catastrophic failure.
So it completely moves high-level decision-making away from a gut feeling to being grounded in measurable evidence.
That's the data-driven culture the source discusses. It stops being an emotional argument about opinions, and it starts being a rational discussion about facts.
It effectively argues that operational intelligence is no longer just a nice-to-have upgrade. It's becoming foundational, which implies that if you don't have it, your entire business foundation is cracked.
And this leads to what I think is the most provocative idea in the whole text. We've talked a lot today about efficiency. We talk about saving money and preventing headaches. But there is a strong underlying argument here that this is ultimately about survival.
Survival? How so?
Think about the companies that stubbornly refused to adopt the internet back in the late 90s. They thought, we have a fax machine, we have a Rolodex, we're doing just fine.
Right. They got wiped out.
The white paper suggests we are at a very similar inflection point right now with AIoT. The question for anyone listening today, especially if you are sitting in a leadership role, is this. At what point does a lack of real-time visibility stop being just a minor operational inefficiency?
You mean, when does it stop being just a frustrating line item on the annual budget?
Exactly. When does it become a fatal liability? Because if your competitor can accurately predict their maintenance and they can run their energy 20% cheaper and they can pivot instantly to global market changes, and you are still waiting for a guy to run up the stairs because he smells smoke, you aren't just less profitable, you are entirely obsolete.
That is a heavy realization. It's the literal difference between playing chess and playing roulette with your company's future.
It really is. In a hyper-connected, fast-moving global economy, flying blind isn't a strategy anymore. It's a massive gamble, and the odds against you are getting worse every single day.
So the primary takeaway from the Favorite and IoT World white paper is pretty clear. The technology is finally here to take the blindfold off. The only real question is whether organizations are willing to do the hard work to integrate it into their culture.
The tools are right there waiting. The choice is yours.
It really is a fascinating look at the digital plumbing of the modern enterprise. I want to thank the team at Favorite and IoT World for putting this white paper together. It's dense stuff, but it is undeniably crucial for where business is heading.
Absolutely.
And thank you for joining us on this deep dive. As a final thought to mull over, consider your own operations. Are you making decisions based on what's happening right now, what happened yesterday? Go check those dashboards, make sure you aren't ignoring any smart alerts, and we will catch you on the next one.